Hello, we're late. I'm sorry. It's mostly my fault, as everything is. Right, babe?
Lots of dawdling.
If by dawdling you mean eating supper. Otherwise, we are here. I even went on Instagram and said, hey, if y'all want to be a part of the Sandwich with Some Lovin podcast recording tonight, we do it on YouTube. Come in. There's a big chat room. Everybody gets along. It's like a little family. And then we're late. I'm sorry about that. Just one of those days. Mark Plinsky says, pimp. I don't know why.
Pimp?
Hi, Albert and Kara and Sheila. Hey, Sheila. Strong and Wiser. Idsenol, maybe. Linda Harris, Bradley, Christina, Jacob, Angie, Jeff, Tanya, Shelley. Mark is growing an Allen mustache. Now you have a name. Your mustache has an identity.
It's going to have its own Instagram pretty soon.
Christina, Teresa, Veronica. Good evening, everyone. Sorry we're a little late, and thank you for joining us. I apologize. It's everybody's fault. It's just, it's the way it is. It's Wednesday, middle of the week. We're figuring it out. I was on the phone with a girlfriend, and while Alan was cooking his
Visiting.
I was visiting. I'm a very Southern girl. Alan doesn't understand the art of visiting. So I was visiting.
Lots of visiting.
We're catching up and we're visiting. So anyway, don't be dirty this time. That last time was bad.
Oh, I'll be dirtier.
Don't be as dirty as that. That was bad.
I'll be dirtier.
I think we can all in the podcast family agree that there are certain things that should not be said when Alan does his jokes. Jeff, I am drinking tonight. I have been drinking wine. I have. Hi, Cindy. Glad to see you. How's the poster? Well, the poster got turned back around to just the shirtless Harry Styles. But because she defied me, it's just been a big disaster. The poster is like, it's just a mess. It's hard to explain. It's not as sturdy as it was when I first did it. Now it's kind of flimsier. It's hard to explain. You love visiting in your family. Yes, Kelly. The wine it's not Freak Show. Oh, crap. It's not Freak Show. It's something else with a stormy looking label, and I can't think of it right now, but it's red. Oh, crap. I can't think of it.
All right.
You ready to get started, babe?
Sure.
So we're going to dive in. He's ready to go, and he's so excited because we're family. Families stick together, right?
What does that even mean?
It's a Brady Bunch reference.
Oh, good call. Give me a sound check, or we just
check 1, 2. Oh my gosh, y'all! Did y'all listen to the last podcast? For some reason, Alan pressed the record button, and it showed that it was recording. And at the end of the podcast, nothing was recorded.
So deflated.
So after we logged off and everything, Alan realized this, and we called our producer Robert. Like, what do? We don't know what to do. And he recorded the podcast off of the YouTube audio.
Stop talking.
Well, we're just explaining what happened. It was a disaster. So hopefully everything will work this week. And I've been talking nonstop. I've been talking, so hopefully you have a good register.
Juanalea, please pick up the red courtesy phone. Juanalea, please pick up the red courtesy phone.
I can get behind that. Okay, press the record button. We're going to make sure. Welcome to another episode of A Sandwich and Some Lovin', the podcast. I am Kelly Raspberry Evans. This is my husband, Alan Evans.
Hello, Alan. A train in the house.
That is my husband and co-host of this podcast. Thank you all for joining us on this beautiful quarantine evening.
How come I just can't say my name like you do? Why do I have to do this bit. Now
I
I've
don't
done
know.
it so long this way, I'd feel weird if I did it another way.
Well, you could gradually wean yourself back down to being normal.
Wean. What does wean mean?
You
It's a
take-
funny word.
You
Wean.
gradually pull yourself away from something.
Oh,
Anyway, so
Thank you.
you're welcome to do that. I'm totally on board. But thank you for joining us. We're
Yes.
still in quarantine. Things
We
are
are.
slowly starting to shift, very slowly. I don't know, is it going to backfire? Are we all going to be pulling back in a panic? I don't know. But what I do know is that this Friday, my spray tan salon is open again.
This Friday, Connie is working.
His hairstylist.
Sorry, the lady I've gone to since '93, and who is the
Every 3
first
weeks.
person she's doing?
You.
One
You're going.
Walter A. Evans.
And let me just tell you.
10 a.m.
Yeah. So here's the quandary we're in. I told you last podcast that how Alan and I had gone out to dinner for a friend's birthday that ended in a 0 because she wanted to go to a sit-down restaurant with, fancy. It's one of the fancier special occasion restaurants. She asked 2 other couples to go and they declined for various reasons. 1, because they were going to be out of town. 2, because of health concerns. She has a pre-existing condition. Alan and I do not have pre-existing health conditions
That we know of.
And we went to dinner and it was a good experience. I love this restaurant. I love the food. It was great. But like I told Alan, I felt like I was going to get in trouble the entire time. After we shared our story, what happened?
After we shared it online?
Mm-hmm.
I never shared the story online.
I shared it.
You shared it on the radio.
Okay.
On the nationally syndicated Kid Craddock Morning Show.
And?
Well, I don't know.
You told me about feedback.
Well, that was on the Kid Nation Facebook
Well,
post.
tell me about it.
There were some people that were
Very angry.
either very, very angry at us or they were very, very happy we did it. But there was no middle ground.
There's no middle ground.
Nobody was like, meh. Everyone was like, y'all are nothing. Kelly's got a loud mouth. He's a trophy husband. And you guys are nothing.
But see,
Nothing.
And all I got out of that was, you're a trophy husband.
Yes, that's what I got
That
too.
to be called a trophy wife, that would be that I could die. Happy woman.
I mean, when I saw the guy say that, I had to like his post. And I was like, dude.
You have to let him know you acknowledge
I was
that.
like, dude, thank you.
Here's the thing. I completely see both sides of this. Is it an argument? Is it even an argument? Maybe it is an argument.
It is an argument.
I can see where we have to take baby steps at some point and get back out there and support our local businesses who have always been so good to us. And now we realize more than ever, how important they were a part of our lives. I get that. And I get the people who are, upset because they're afraid that it's going to, spread more coronavirus. I see both sides. But what I also realize is no matter what side you fall on, you are right. You're right and everybody else is wrong. And I can say this from experience because I feel the same way a lot of times because I was, raised, in religious, politics, whatever you believe is correct and everybody else is ignorant or wrong or going to hell or whatever it is. So I get that. I want to go back out and start having my life again. And I understand it's a really crazy time, but we're not going willy-nilly crazy. We haven't been out to a restaurant every day since the governor said 25% capacity.
No, we haven't.
We haven't been doing that. We dipped our toe in the water and we're going to kind of wait and see what happens.
But if we did, and I'm just throwing this out, if we did choose.
It's our right to do that.
If we did choose to do that, then we would do that.
Right.
And I'm sure there would be a group of people that would say, what are you guys doing? You're going to kill my grandma by going out to eat at Kentucky Fried Chicken. What are you doing?
I get it. I hear you. I hear you. It was very interesting. Alan and I have been keeping up with a little bit of the news, and there was a Dallas hair salon owner, and she's like, I've got to open my salon. We're practicing, safety measures. We're being safe. But I've got people on the payroll that need to feed their families. And she defiantly tore up the court orders to shut down her salon and got thrown in jail and fined. And now we were just checking, I was just reading a news article about it. And as of this podcast recording, how much was raised? Almost $500,000?
Yeah, 400 something.
Somebody started a GoFundMe for her. Is it a constitutional right? Is it a moral obligation? I don't know. It's really an interesting time in our history that we're all a part of to see how it plays out. I mean, I'm not taking a strong side either way. I can see both sides, but I know I want to go out to eat and I know I want to get a spray tan and I know I want to go get my roots done and I want to go to Home Goods and I want to go to Target and these are things I want. But being responsible about it when you do go, right?
It'll be interesting. Kelly and I were talking at dinner. There's going to be a lot of lawsuits that come out of this whole mess. There's going to be a lot of businesses that are suing local governments.
One of Big Al's friends is a lawyer, and he said he's just getting ready. He's getting ready for the storm. It's going to be big.
Eventually, this is going to go as high as the Supreme Court.
Yeah.
And, the argument is just, everyone in America, one of the things we have is the right to what is it? Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, right?
Yeah.
And, what we have going on here is the local government saying that you can't run your business. The business owner saying, wait a second, I live in America. I mean, I realize there's a pandemic going on right now, but I can't feed my family unless I work, so these are
So is she a patriot? Because you look back in our history books, at people who stood up against government and, no new taxes or whatever. And those people, as history has progressed, a lot of them are called heroes, And so because everybody's doing what you feel is right when everybody's against you, is that the definition of a hero? I don't know. What is history going to show? What is history going to prove? We don't know. When you're in the middle of it, you don't know.
Yeah. And, it's hard to put yourself in the shoes of people who have loved ones who they've passed because of this virus. It's equally as hard for me to put myself in the shoes of we are business owners, but fortunately we have a lot of other things to fall back on.
Right.
But if a business is your only source of income and the government
dying a slow, painful death.
Right. The local government says, no, you can't work. It would be hard for me also to put myself in the shoes of that business owner and how hard and excruciating that is going day to day, wanting to work and you can't pay your bills,
It's a tough spot.
So it's a tough spot for everybody.
And, it's like, people, I've been listening to every argument, you're valuing lives over profit. And for some people, it's not even about profit right now. It's about survival. It's not even about profit.
Right.
It's about I just need to feed my family. I need to pay my mortgage. And it's just, what is it a legal issue? Is it a moral issue? That's the definition. I think that's the quandary, really, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is it a legal issue or a constitutional issue or a moral issue?
Well, I know that's not the case in Dallas. That's not the only case like that. There are many others around the nation. And I'm telling you, it'll go as high as the Supreme Court. That's my prediction.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And I have a friend today, and, we were just talking about, what's going on right now. You remember the toilet paper shortage and how everybody panicked. Now it's going to be the meat crisis. It was the toilet paper crisis. Now it's going to be the meat crisis because the processing plants are all shutting down. And now Alan and I were talking. It's like, should we go out? We don't have like these big freezers to put, even if we went and bought all this meat, we don't have anywhere to put it. So it's like, we went to the grocery store tonight. Let's just to be on the safe side. Let's go to the grocery store because we heard today some Wendy's across the country have stopped serving hamburgers. Some stores are saying limit 2 packages of meat per customer. It's like, okay, well, maybe we should just go at least let's be smart about it. We don't want to be doomsdayers.
Mm-hmm.
We're not survivalists by any stretch of the imagination, but let's go get some meat just in case. I mean, we've got cans of tuna and stuff and cans of soup. So we went, and we didn't see the panic situation at the grocery store we chose, and tons of toilet paper, by the way, tons of it. But I mean, my friend I was talking to, and she said, I'm telling you, within the next 2 to 3 weeks, it's going to be a crisis situation with the meat. I don't know. What are we doing?
I hate to say I told you so.
What are we doing as a country? What are we doing?
Chef Mike told me like a month ago. He said, dude, go buy a freezer at Home Depot. And I'm like, why? He said, I just bought one and I filled it with meat. He goes, we're headed towards a meat shortage.
What is happening in our country? It's just strange. I just never envisioned this happening in our lifetime.
What's happening is when people can't work, it screws everything up.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
And that's what's happening. People can't work at the meat processing plants.
Because of coronavirus issues and stuff. I don't know. I told Alan it's time to go wild hog hunting again.
I told her if I could go pop a cap and a wild hog, we'd eat for months.
It's time to go hog hunting.
Maybe I should go hog hunting.
I don't know. Maybe something to do.
I tell you what, there's always the squirrels in the backyard.
No, we're not killing our squirrels.
I'm not.
I've made it this far in life. Now I'll say I've never been in a desperate situation where I'm starving.
Oh, you need a squirrel.
That if I was in that position, but I'm going to tell you, there'd have to be a lot of steps and a lot of things have to be cleared out of our pantry before I am tempted to eat squirrel.
It's amazing what you'll eat if you're hungry.
Well, it's also amazing what you eat if you're from the South. Because my mother, Connie Raspberry, who was raised Connie Price till she married Jerry Raspberry, my daddy boy used to hunt. And a lot of times she said, there would be like somebody hit a turtle on the road, you come home, you have turtle soup, whatever, roadkill. They do that, and depending on how badly the animal has been damaged in the South. So she tells me she vividly remembers as a child eating squirrel. They would have squirrel stew. And one of the delicacies, I'm going to warn y'all ahead of time.
They always got to mix it with something. Why do they always have to mix it with something?
Because we're from the South. We overcook it and we make it into a stew or a loaf. Anyway.
Got that right.
Weak stomachs, just be prepared. So my mother said, she didn't know any better. She's a kid. In the squirrel stew, they would put the squirrel heads.
Oh.
Because the delicacy is the squirrel brains.
That's gross.
So you would take your spoon.
Even I think that's gross.
You would crack the top of the squirrel head.
Are you kidding me?
Nope. And you would spoon out the squirrel brains. That happened in Mullins, South Carolina.
It's kind of like Indiana Jones, but on a smaller scale.
They ate squirrel brains in that movie. When I saw that movie, I'm like,
they ate monkey brains.
Monkey brains. I said, that's just like my mother used to eat squirrel brains. And then one day she realized what she was doing and she never did it again. But, that's just a thing. That's just a thing in the South.
I mean, I'll get the 22 out and hunt us a couple of squirrels.
I'm not doing that.
I saw a rabbit back there today.
Like I said, there has to be a lot of steps before I get to monkey brains.
That's one
or
thing.
Squirrel brains.
That's one thing I don't eat is anything rodentia. I don't eat any kind of rodent. I'm out on that. A rabbit's not a rodent, though, is it?
Isn't it?
It's a lagomorph.
My friend says birds are flying rodents.
Well, that's not true.
That's what she said.
Bird's a bird. Now I eat a bird all day.
There you go.
Does your friend like chicken?
I would imagine so.
Well, there you go. She's eating a bird.
So anyway, that's our hot topics, hot sports opinions for tonight.
Well, I don't know that we had a hot sports opinion. We just basically said it sucks for everybody.
We're just talking it out. I think that's what a lot of people are doing. We're just like, I'm frustrated. It has been, how many weeks have we been in quarantine now? 6, 7 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just like, and I don't know what the future is going to look like. So it's very troubling and worrisome. I talked to my friend Tommy Jean. She's in South Carolina, and her twins are graduating this year. And she told me they just found out how they're going to do high school graduation. They're going to do it. Her kids go to this little academy in Florence, just outside of Florence. And they're going to do the high school graduation. They're going to have all the kids in the front yard, basically, of the school. And they're going to be 6 feet apart. And all the parents are going to have to sit in their cars and watch from their cars. I'm like, why even do it?
There was a college that was doing that too.
Why even do that?
I think that's how a lot of schools are going to try to do it this year.
Because I'll be honest, high school graduation, yeah, it's a big deal. But I remember when I was graduating high school, I couldn't have cared less. And I don't know if that's true for every other graduating senior. Maybe it's because when you're told you can't have something, that's why you want it more. But I remember when I was a high school senior, I didn't care about doing the graduation. And I was salutatorian and had to give a speech and all that.
Dime.
Whatever. The point is I didn't care. And then I remember when I graduated college, I really didn't care. I had gone to school for a year or so and realized I was wasting everybody's time and money because I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. I'm sorry, I'm a little thick-tongued. I've had wine, but I know what I'm saying.
You're kind of thick-tongued?
I'm very thick-tongued.
Kind of like George Bush?
And there's something in my eye. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh, college graduation.
Hashimoto's.
So I promised my mother when I dropped out of college, I promise you I'll go back and finish, but I don't know what I want to do. I just let me work for a while and figure things out. And that's when I got into radio and I went back to school and I got my degree like I promised my mother I would. But here I was, 26 years old. I had nothing to do with the kids I was in school with because they were all, fresh out of high school or whatever. I worked the morning shift on the radio station, went straight to college, sat there, took my classes, went straight to my parents' Western Wear business, Go West. We got hats and belts and boots, jeans and shirts and Western suits, all the finest Western wear. Go West.
Go West.
Go West.
Go West.
We got the finest Western wear. Go West.
Go West.
Them good old boys gonna treat you well. Go West.
Go West.
Don't settle for less.
Settle for less.
Go West.
Go West. Let us
go west.
That's Go West. Let us bring up
Mall.
in the Florence Mall. Let us bring out the cowboy in you.
Thank you. Finally. Not even. You haven't even.
If you would just let me do it,
but you do it wrong.
Instead of talking over me.
You did it wrong.
Like John says, I talk over you.
So I would go straight to Go West and manage the store. On the weekends, I did TV weather at TV 13 BTW. I had nothing to do with those kids. And so, they were nice and everything, but I just was like, I just need to get out of college. I went to Maymester. I went to summer school. I just wanted to get my degree and be done with it so I can get on with my life. And when it came time for college graduation, I didn't want to walk. I was like, why? It was a December graduation. Nobody cares about December graduations anyway. But my parents were like, you've got to walk. It means a lot to us. It means a lot to your grandparents. Fine. So I did it. So is the high school and college graduation about the student?
Honestly, I don't remember either one of my graduations.
See?
The only one I can remember? When I got my master's degree. You know what I did? I wrote them a letter and I said, mail me my diploma.
Exactly. So I'm trying to remember, like when I was in high school, I don't know. I get it. People, it's sad they miss prom because when you're in high school, you don't see past the tip of your nose, right? Honestly, everything is the most important thing ever. Every boyfriend you have is the one you're going to marry. Every breakup is the most devastating thing ever. And I get that when you're in the drama of it. But looking back, I'm like, I don't know.
I can't remember either one of mine. I really can't.
But if somebody came and told me, well, you can't have a college or high school graduation, then I'd be like, well,
yeah.
but I want it. That's all I,
Yeah. Now, I know I had one because one of my favorite pictures that I have is me and my dad. And I've got my robe on, my college graduation. We're sitting on the double T bench at Tech.
So you got a picture out of it.
I got a picture out of it, but I don't remember anything about that day.
And it's the same thing about weddings. So many people would go back and say, man, if I could have all the money I spent on that wedding back, But you got good pictures.
I remember a wedding, but that wasn't that long ago.
I know what I'm saying. Was it worth all the money we spent on it?
Well, yeah, I think so.
Okay, I think so too.
What would you do with it?
Like I've always said, if we could afford to do it every weekend, I would have that wedding over and over again.
Yeah,
best time ever.
It was best wedding ever.
Best time ever.
In my opinion.
We're just sitting here running our mouths because
one of us is.
I had a lot of wine, but I think like a lot of people, we're kind of frustrated. Concerned.
Yeah. I don't know if frustrated is the right
frustrated.
word. Are you frustrated?
You?
gosh, I don't know how to assign an
Are you
emotion to this whole
Are you
thing.
melancholy?
I don't even know if I'm melancholy. I
What
just
are you?
feel. How do you say you feel when a situation is surreal? How do you express that in an emotion? What does that mean? How do you say that?
Detached?
Yeah, maybe I feel detached from life a little bit. You know, like
Detached. That's a Kelly. That was a good adjective.
Like I live 10 minutes from my mom and dad, and I haven't seen them in what 2 months.
Right.
It's just weird.
It is.
And I've noticed I already have kind of a obsessive personality. Sometimes when I get into something, I really get into it.
Well, that's true, but that's
But
not
that's when things
necessarily
are
a bad thing.
That's when things are normal.
But that's not a bad thing.
And since we've been on this
Hiatus from life.
yeah, this quarantine, my obsessions have become almost, I don't know,
Obsessive?
I'm having a hard time explaining
Your obsessions
my
have become
feelings tonight.
obsessive. Well, it's like when we first went into quarantine.
Like I would sit there and draw from
Exactly.
6 a.m. until 10 at night.
At the dining room table, he would do nothing all day. I would come into his office, which has become my office by default. And I would do the morning show for a Kid Craddock morning show, and he'd be in there. He'd get up when I got up. He'd make me breakfast, which he has stopped doing, but that's okay. I don't need it anyway. And he would draw.
You're on Red Mountain.
He would draw all day long.
And I'd eat
into the night.
I'd eat, and then I'd look up at the clock. It's 10 o'clock at night. I'm like, oh, okay.
I would go to
I've been sitting here
bed.
all day. It's time to go to bed now.
I would go to bed without him because I'm like, I'm gonna go to bed. He's still working on some, half mummy, half, cowboy tattoo art. And then you put down
mummy,
whatever it was, skeleton. So you put down your crayons and your colored pens.
Well, they
and
weren't
pencils,
they weren't crayons.
Your colored pencils and pens.
What am I, 4?
You put down
crayons.
You put down your art tools.
Like Crayolas.
You put down your art tools.
Uh-huh.
I don't know what made you decide that you had enough of that.
I haven't had enough. I mean, I'm going to draw again.
But you put it down. You were like, I'm done with that.
Well, because
on to the next thing.
Because I started pressure washing.
Yeah.
And then I obsessively pressure washed everything I could see that was dirty for about a week. And then after I got done with that, I decided we needed to take our Japanese garden in the back to turbo mode. So we have the freaking legit Japanese garden now.
Tell them what you've done.
Oh, I mean, I don't.
Every day, guys. Every day.
I don't want to bore the listener, but we have 7 different kinds of Japanese maples, okay? We got bamboo back there.
Up lighting.
Down
lighting.
We've got swervy paths, which you got to have in Japanese landscapes.
He's made rock sculptures,
pebbles,
hanging baskets in different cone shapes.
Yes. What else?
You've planted and this is the thing about Alan. He will plant a bush or whatever it is. He'll stand back, put his hands on his hips, walk around, decide, I don't like it. He'll dig it up and he'll plant it somewhere else. He will do that multiple times.
Until I get it right. And I know when it's right. You just know when you look at it.
Is it right now? He told me tonight.
We're almost there.
He told me tonight, I'm almost there. Now he says he thinks he's at the point of maintenance. I don't know. That's what quarantine's done to me. It's made me become is it OCD? Obsessive. I don't know. Obsessive compulsive disorder. I don't know. Is that the same as obsessive?
I don't know that I've gone that far, but I mean,
I obsess.
I have focus.
Focus.
Like if I latch onto something, I'll focus on it for about a week.
Like I've latched onto that bottle of wine.
Oh,
that's where we relate.
You're on that thing like a newborn calf on the teat.
It's good. It's good wine. So anyway, what's your next thing? What do you think your next thing is going to be? We're almost coming out of this, I think. I know my boss is considering having us go back into the office, maybe another week and a half of this. Because today we're recording this on Wednesday, so this week, and then maybe next week. And then possibly going back to work after that.
Really? So how much
Alan, it was so sweet last night. I told him, that I talked to the boss, and he said that, and he rolled over and he said, I'm going to miss you being here every day.
You're not supposed to tell him stuff like that.
That's sweet, though. Let him think you're sweet, not just jerk all the time. They listen to this podcast and think, Alan's such an ass.
Oh, come on. Are you really?
I don't know. I'm just saying.
That's what John said.
That's what John, my favorite listener, said last week. But he said he's going to miss me every day being here because I've literally been here every single day.
Yeah.
Are you looking for John's letter right now?
Yeah. It was in the trash, but I don't know.
I didn't change the trash out since we did the last podcast.
Yeah.
It's probably still in there.
Anyway. It's around somewhere.
John, I hope you're still listening despite Alan because you and I have a connection.
God, I wish I had that letter.
Anyway, that was very sweet. You're going to miss me when I go back to work.
I will. It's been nice having you here. And I like it better for you because you don't have to get up at, quite the ass crack of dawn. You can sleep in a little bit more.
Yeah, it's been nice.
And then just lumber into the office from the bedroom.
It's been nice, but it's necessary to get back to work. I understand that it's necessary, for a lot of reasons.
Yeah, I have liked being here too, with you. But when things are normal, I would go to my office or I would go to Starbucks, and I like being around people.
Yeah.
I like, even though I'm working and I got my head down and I'm doing whatever, it's nice just having people around. And you start. I remember one day I was in Starbucks and this guy sat next to me, and I'm not the biggest talker when somebody sits next to me. I am on an airplane. But he,
unlike me,
yeah. But if somebody starts talking to me, I'll talk back. And he started asking me questions about watches, and we talked for about an hour about watches because I like watches, And he was a collector or something, and we just went back and forth about that.
So you miss stuff like that. You don't even realize it.
Right. You just kind of miss little things like that, I guess.
I know. But we're gonna, one thing stays the same. Coronavirus or not, quarantine or not, we're going to keep doing the sandwiches from Lovin because we enjoy that.
Yeah.
It's time for us to get together and do something together and to connect with our podcast family.
Yes.
And we appreciate so much you joining us and to listen to us. Just, I feel like I've, cathartically dumped on everybody tonight.
Just yammered on.
I yammered. But, what do they say? Vino veritas. In vino veritas.
Kelly's been wheels off tonight.
I have.
She was.
I got on the phone with a friend.
Usually, I'm the one that lurches at dinner. Kelly was lurching.
I was lurching because I was. It's true. I was drinking, eating, and talking at the same time, which involves breathing and swallowing air. So it makes you,
That's going to give you bad gas.
But I was so fired up because I was talking to a friend of mine that I haven't talked to in a while who is temporarily out in Colorado due to circumstances. But, it's just fun to catch up with people and get you fired up and excited about things again. So,
hey, just to I guess wrap up and bring it home for Jerome, we have a live studio audience here in the studio. And
we record this on YouTube. So, by the way, if you ever want to join us as we record the podcast, we have a YouTube channel called A Sandwich and Some Lovin', just like the podcast.
Yes.
We typically record 8 p.m. Central Time. Typically, we're a little late tonight on Monday and Wednesday nights.
Mm-hmm. Can I finish my thought now?
I was just letting people know.
Yeah. And one of the members in the live studio audience is actually a member from Kelly's work, from Kid Nation.
Who? Which one?
Well, they won't identify themselves, but Kid Nation wants to know, Kelly, how's the BM schedule going? Still regular?
It's probably Trey. I would imagine that's Trey. I think he would be the only one that would ask that. That'd be Trey Peart. Who runs the kind of the board and everything for us while we're in quarantine. His wife, Kara's expecting a baby.
BM meaning bowel movement.
Well, here's what happens. We were in quarantine for about a week and a half when our producer, Nick, decided to ask everybody, what's the one thing that surprised you about your spouse being in quarantine? And Alan says, Kelly talks all the time about being so irregular. I can't get over how regular she is. Well, what's happened since then?
Well, there for about the first week, you were like a goose, man. It'd go in one end, come out the other. Now you've kind of been like a turtle.
Thank you.
You've been watertight.
This is what I told. And Alan blasted all my business for the nationally syndicated Kid Craddock Morning Show. So I will tell you.
Blasted all your business. You've been blasting your business for 25 years.
I just say I don't go. And you were trying to present the fact that I was a liar. Here is the truth about me and my system. I can try anything and it works for me for about a week, maybe 10 days. And then my body, it's like, goes back to normal. Normal for me is I never go to the bathroom. So when we got into quarantine, I was like, I'm going to be healthy. I'm going to take all my vitamins. I'm going to do all this. And when I did that for about a week or so, I was good.
Oh.
And then my body was like, oh, wait,
you were like
Kelly, Kelly, we don't like this. We're going to go back to our regular scheduled programming. And that's where I am now. So
when can we, I'm getting blown up and people are not happy that you're not letting me tell the story that I wanted to tell. Now it's 2 podcasts ago.
Alan, I don't trust you to tell it correctly or politely without embarrassing me. So let me tell it.
Sure. Yeah, you tell it and I'll fill in. Sure. Yeah. Go ahead.
Here you go.
And okay, hold on. Now, the reason I want this brought up is for all you who have a significant other. If this happened to you in a similar situation,
it's not that big of a deal.
What would your reaction be?
It's not.
Would you be like, kind of your head would cock like the dog that hears the high whistle, or would you just kind of be like, okay, and just kind of roll back over into the fetal position? What would you do if you were me?
This is not that big of a deal.
If you were me.
So Alan and I have been open about the fact that we are a married couple. We're very open about the fact that we're a married couple.
Yes.
And that married couples sometimes have sex. This much is true.
Yeah, so far. Yeah.
Typically, for us, that usually happens weekend mornings because at night we're both so tired. We're like, I don't even care. We just want to go to sleep.
Okay, this all right. That really has nothing to do with the story.
No, this does have something to do with the story. So it was the morning of a weekend. I don't remember if it was Saturday or Sunday. Let's just pretend it was Sunday. I don't know. So
okay, can I add a little color here?
No, because I'm afraid of what you're going to say. I don't want you to make it vulgar.
I'm not going to be vulgar. The kid, as part of the process here, goes over to the door.
Alan.
And does the little.
Okay, he locks the door.
And does the little click.
Click. That's foreplay for us.
So when I hear
the door.
When I hear the click, I'm like,
Okay, that's foreplay.
Right.
Not that my daughter ever gets up before 2:00 in the afternoon unless I go and wake her up. It's not usually an issue, but just to be on the safe side, right? So there's a click. And I forget let's not get graphic, but
there's nothing graphic to the story.
A conversation where the word fondles came up.
Now, I was the one who said that. Okay.
Alan brought
up the word. I'm not gonna say like how or why, but the word as
fondles,
as play of the 4 variety was happening. The word fondles was said.
It was. To which I responded.
Okay, now, as this conversation is happening,
Be careful. Don't embarrass your wife. I'm still your precious wife.
As this conversation is happening that we are describing right now, we are both in the.
We're ready to.
We're in the horizontal position. We're in the horizontal position.
All right, so let's. Okay,
and then
I'm still your precious wife.
The word fondles comes out.
So then, I maybe referenced.
Mm-hmm. What'd you say?
Fondles the clown.
Yes.
Which happens to be Big Al's clown name from the Kid Morning Show.
Right.
We did a bit a long time ago on the Kid Morning Show about Big Al was going to be a clown at children's parties.
Yeah.
And the name he came up for himself was Fondles the Clown.
Right. Now,
which is the worst name for a children's party clown.
Now, here is the crux of the issue, dear listener.
We're getting
Should
ready
your
to.
significant other, under any circumstance, ever, as play of the four variety is happening, say the name of a coworker, number one, and then if the coworker has a nickname like Fondles the Clown, should she say that?
Okay.
And if she does say all those things, what should your response be?
Laughter.
Well, when you're in that position, in that situation,
It kind of put the brakes on things for just a minute.
the brakes meaning like a ripe banana, just a ripe banana.
Okay. I don't know what that means.
Just real soft.
Right?
Real.
No, stop it. We were fine. It was
Real.
fine. And
Yeah.
it wasn't that big of a deal. I didn't even know it was that big of a deal until he's like, a couple podcasts ago, he's like, wait, I want to talk about what happened. I was like, what are you talking? I made him stop because I didn't know what he was going to talk about.
What we just said is what I wanted to talk about.
This is how much thought I gave to it. I had no idea what he was talking about. So I was like, you can't share this story because I don't know what you're going to say. And then after the podcast, he told me, I'm like, oh, okay. It was not that big of a deal. That was how non-eventful it was to me.
That would be like,
but come on.
That would be like me.
The image of the children's party clown that you hired to come to entertain your children's party is Big Al, AKA Fondles the Clown.
But then the listener also may
funny.
be saying, yeah, but Alan, what are you doing saying the word fondles?
Don't even worry about it.
Why
even worry
about fondles?
It. Don't even worry about it. But that's what it was.
That's
so now you've waited 2 whole podcasts and now you know. And I'm going to go finish that bottle of wine now.
That was better than Big Al's story. But I want to get some feedback. Listener, email me at podcast@kellyandallen.com. If you and your partner have ever been having play of the four variety.
Yes, and
someone brings up another person's name.
Yes, it happens.
Let me know.
It happens all the time.
That I would like to know about it.
It happens all the time.
And I'd like to know what happened.
Fine.
Okay, there you go.
There you go. That was your big payoff.
All right.
Hope you all enjoyed sticking around for that.
Fondles.
That's pretty funny, though.
God. But, I mean, I'm just basically laying there in push-up position.
Stop! See, now you don't need to go into graphics.
And then I say,
Alan,
my man.
Yeah, no, it's not necessary. It's not necessary to go.
My man.
All right, we're gonna wrap up this podcast now. Trey, thank you. I'm assuming that was you joining us. In the chat room tonight. Again, if anybody else would like to, if you're listening to the podcast for the first time or the 100th time, you're like, what are you talking about? You record this on YouTube. Yes, we used to do it on Facebook. We had a much bigger audience on Facebook, but the quality sucked. So we moved over to YouTube. And so now if you want to join us, usually around 8 p.m. Central Time on Monday and Wednesday nights, we're on YouTube. Just search A Sandwich and Some Lovin'. Okay? And we'll be back again. Let's see. This is Wednesday. We'll be back in again next Monday night.
Yeah.
All right.
Good stuff, man.
Thank you all for joining us. I'm sorry. I'm just like, it's just been stream of consciousness tonight.
Well, I love you desperately.
I love you too.
Even though you have thick tongue.
Thank you, Fondles.
It's so unstable.
It was fun.
It is so unstable. I love our listeners desperately. I love Big Al Mac desperately. I just don't want to hear his name in my bedroom. But I'm sure we'll podcast again real soon. And in the immortal words of the great Keanu Reeves, life is good. Have a good sandwich. Bye. Fondles. This is so stupid. God. Unbelievable.
So who all was in there? Was it Trey?
Probably. I don't think Anna would ask that question.
No.
This thing didn't work this time. You're going to see a grown man cry. Oh my god. That's exactly what I wanted to talk about. It wasn't gonna be anything graphic
Well,
about
I
it.
didn't know what you were gonna say, so no.
What do you think? I'm a loose cannon? Don't answer that.
A sandwich and fondles the clown.
Sure.
That makes no sense. Our podcast title is going to be "A Sandwich and Fondles the Clown."
No, that's good.
And people are going to have to be like, "We're talking coronavirus and
Well, I gotta wait to the
lawsuits." Like,
end.
what the hell?
I gotta wait to the end. Oh god. Kara said her husband would have moved to the couch in a huff. I just fought through it. Just fought through it.
He did.
Oh God, come on. Show a little respect. Oh, good grief. It's ridiculous. Safe Beauty said, thank you, Robert. Safe Beauty said, good clickbait, because she would definitely want to know who Fondles is. Oh my god. Respect for Fondles. You guys are funny. Oh man. All right, guys. I took the what do you call it? The white trash shower today. I just
Went to a swimming pool.
I jumped in the swimming pool, so I got to get in the real shower. Kara said she knows what I can be for Halloween.
Fondles the clown.
But I'm not Fondles. That's Al.
Big Al is Fondles the clown.
I just said Fondles. And then you said Fondles the clown, Al Mack. And then I said, my man. This is so stupid. God. Unbelievable. Okay, guys. I gotta upload this to stop talking. Love you guys. Thanks for checking in. Thank you, Tanya. It would have been. I was censored.
Who all's there?
Bye. Bye. See you guys.
Oh, Robert, he says, stop picking on my favorite person. Who, you or me?
Probably you.
Me. Is John here tonight?
Oh.
My favorite?
Oh, if John was here. Oh, boy.
The Fondles torch has been passed. Big Al is going to love this. He'll never hear this podcast.
Big Al doesn't listen to podcasts.
I love you. We love you, Melanie. Hope you're doing well.
Thank you, Mel. Mustache is legit, man. We'll keep going with it. Love you guys desperately. See you later.